All right, welcome to another episode of KOIN Conversations. I'm Anthony Costero, one of the anchors here at KOIN 6 and for Portland CW. Joining us today is none other than Kendra Elliot. You might know her. She's a Wall Street Journal and Amazon charts best-selling author whose books have captivated so many readers really across the globe, and we have the honor and privilege of speaking with Kendra today. Kendra, thank you so much for being on the program.
Thank you for having me. I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, so I want to start with your roots. I know you're from Oregon. Can you just give us a little bit of background?
Yeah, I am either third or fourth generation Oregonian. I'm not positive about where my great grandmother was born, but I was born on the southern Oregon coast and spent most of my time in the Portland area growing up and living, working, raising my family.
Okay. And so your love of writing, did it start at an earlier age or that's something that you took on later in life?
That came later in life. I've always been a huge lover of reading, and little did I know that that is what would provide the background for me launching my career as an author. I read voraciously ever since I was 5. I just could never get enough. It wasn't until about, boy, almost 20 years ago now that I decided to try to write a book. It had never even crossed my mind before, but I sat down, gave it a shot, and 9 months later, I had a book, and no publisher wanted it, no agent wanted it. So I wrote another one, and once again, no publisher wanted it, no agent wanted it. It wasn't until my third book that I finally hit the right note, I think, and actually learned the craft more. That was the one that got picked up by an agent and then a publisher.
Okay. And I imagine that was probably a bit of a whirlwind, trying to go through that process and navigating the literary world. Because
It's
I,
so slow,
yeah,
actually.
how do you mean?
It's so slow. Um, you will send a query to an agent pitching your book, and you won't hear anything back for months. And same thing with publishers. You won't hear anything for months. In the meantime, all you can do is just keep writing and keep querying more agents and querying more publishers and hoping. I think the entire process of that part took 4 years, I think, before
Mm.
I landed an agent and publisher.
Oh, wow. So, yeah, that is quite a process. And I know with your latest series, I know I'm going to butcher the name. So remind me, it's the Columbia
River series.
River. Oh, I should know that. It's not hard at all. But the Columbia River series and the way that you describe kind of the settings for these books and for these characters really does feel like Oregon. And I imagine that's probably based on your own upbringing.
It really is. So I lived in Florida for a little while, and people asked me, "Oh, are you going to start writing about Florida, a book set in Florida?" I said, "No, I don't know Florida. Yes, I'm living here, but I didn't grow up here." Since I grew up in Oregon, I knew the history. I knew how things changed. I knew the people. I knew the politics. So I understand it. And I don't think you can learn that something like that without having lived somewhere for several years.
Yeah. And so, your novels are a little dark. They're talking about these murders and these death investigations. What was kind of the draw to be writing, in that subject matter?
Well, I actually thought I would write romance, and but people kept dying in my books. My characters kept tripping over dead bodies. So I kind of took the hint and revised things. What I write now is actually would be called a police procedural. It sort of provides the spine of the story of following a investigation. Um, but that's what I love to read. So it actually made sense that that's what I veered into.
Yeah. So when it comes to, writing about police investigations and things like that, there's got to be amount of research, I guess, that would go into you writing about the process and how everything works. How time
Mhm.
consuming was that, and how do you even do something like that?
It is time consuming. I have a fantastic library of books I've accumulated over the years. I have contacts in police departments. When I first wrote my book about an FBI agent, the FBI agent office there in Portland hooked me up with some agents to talk to, which was really helpful.
Oh, that's neat. Have you had any other kind of interesting experiences like that where you're talking with maybe like homicide detectives or, other professionals?
So one of the greatest things that I got to do for several years was go to something called the Writers Police Academy. And it attracted authors from all over the United States, and we would sit there and be taught by police professionals, firemen, EMTs. They want to tell us how to get things right, and they tell us what they hate about what people get wrong. But for the most of it for me, I mean, I can Google what kind of bullets I should be using, what kind of gun I should be using. But what I can't really Google is how these people talk, the jargon that they use, the mannerisms that they use. So most of the time that I would spend at the Writers Police Academy, I was mainly watching the people who were teaching us, learning how they interact within between each other and that sort of thing, more than facts. Facts
Hmm.
you can.
Yeah, that's interesting. Really getting into the mentality and probably just the overall persona of how people conduct these, yeah, those investigations. So one question that I had, because you're very popular in Oregon, obviously, and elsewhere, but because of the Bone Secrets and the Columbia River series that we've been talking about, they have such intricate plots. Someone wanted to know, how do you keep track of all the details while ensuring that everything kind of lines up? I imagine you've got lots of notebooks.
It's hard. I'm working on my 25th book, and
Wow.
almost all of my books are intertwined in some way. Characters cross over, locations. I did for a while, I hired someone to create Bibles for me on each book, basically a summary of the characters, their descriptions, the plots, that sort of thing. When my daughter got older, I hired her to do it. But now there's some pretty good AI out there that will actually keep track of that sort of thing for me.
Oh,
So
okay.
I can ask them, oh, what are these characters' eye colors? Because I can't remember, even though I've written 4 books about the woman.
Yeah, I imagine it's probably like having kids in a way, like trying to keep track and when you hold it or when you're reminded, but it's a lot
Mhm.
to kind of keep in order, I would imagine.
It really is. And I can't think about anything else when I'm in a book because I there's just no room in my brain because it is so packed full of these facts. But once I finish that book, I swear my brain does a big dump and gets rid of all that information and makes room for the next book, I guess I should say.
Yeah, that makes sense. I'm curious to know because you said at the beginning of the program that you started writing these types of books because that's what you like reading. Is this still your favorite genre to read?
It really is. My favorite authors, Michael Connolly, who writes the Bosch series. I love those are police procedurals. Robert Crace writes sort of a police procedural. But yeah, that's really what I'm drawn to. But I also like to read um, historical fiction, and I even like some science fiction and fantasy. Dragons are always good.
So if it wasn't the procedural type books, do you think what you would potentially do next?
I don't think so. I've established myself as a suspense writer. It would be a big deal to have to almost start from scratch if I wanted to change genres. And I I like what I do. I can do it well. Trying to tackle world building with creating some dragons or something would be totally foreign to me.
Never say never. I think the
Oh,
conversations, right,
that
several
is
years
something
ago
I
when
always say, never say never.
never say never. There's all this conversation right now about Taylor Swift and her latest album. But, when she came out with 1989, went to the pop sector, that was a whole thing. So, I mean, you could also change too. So never say never. We touched on it a little bit, but just the response, not just from Oregon, but all across the country and beyond. Just the success that you've experienced with just all of the books that you've had and with these series. How has that been like? I imagine it's got to feel a little surreal.
It has. It was life-changing. When I first started writing a book, all I wanted, first of all, to see if I could complete a book. I wanted to know if I could actually sit down and do it. And then I thought, well, it'd be great to see my name actually on the spine of a book somewhere. And when I first started writing, after a couple of years, I had several author friends in the business. I knew it was a cutthroat business. But I feel very lucky, very blessed that I have been able to do successfully what I have done. Yeah, it's been life-changing for me.
Yeah, because what were you doing before you were writing books? I didn't.
As
I
a
don't think I
dental
asked that.
hygienist, as a dental hygienist for 16 years.
Really?
But the dental field is what I wrote about in my first book that a publisher picked up. My main character was a dentist who identified people by their teeth, dead people by their teeth. And it was a area of science that I was fascinated with, and I created this character, and it's what caught a publisher's eye.
Hmm. Do you also watch a lot of like those murder mysteries? We have CBS 48 Hours and there's Dateline. Are you kind of keen on that as well?
I I don't watch a lot of that.
Okay.
My daughter is an addict.
Sure.
But yeah, I don't watch much of it actually.
Yeah. I imagine because you're surrounded by it all the time that you
That
probably
could be
don't.
why. Yeah.
Yeah. Opting for something different. So, on that note of just this life changing experience, aside from seeing your book in a bookstore with your name on the spine, what has been kind of the most surreal experience about all of this?
I was standing in PetSmart one day and a woman looked at me and then she stopped and said, "Are you Kendra Elliot?" And that had never happened to me before. Um, so being recognized was really surreal. Um, it's also, I've been able to pay for my kids to go to college, pay for their master's programs. To me, that's surreal. They aren't going to have education debt, which was really important to me.
Yeah. Um, are they studying anything like English or literary writing or anything like that?
None of them are interested in writing, and
Okay.
actually, the oldest is the only one that reads my books. Well, I
Wow.
tried hard to get them interested in like joining the FBI or law enforcement or some sort of criminal investigation. No, they're more psychology oriented.
Well, it's all kind of related a little bit. I'm kind of surprised that you didn't opt to become like an FBI detective or something like that.
I was too old by the time I figured it out, I guess.
But never say never. I guess now
Well, yeah,
you're pretty well
definitely too old
established.
now. Yeah.
That's right. So, this latest book, tell us a little bit about kind of the inspiration behind it. And we kind of talked about it a little bit, but what's next for your writing as well?
So in June, her first mistake came out, and that was actually the first book in a brand new series called the Noelle Marshall series. Noelle Marshall is a detective that appeared in the Columbia River series, but she was never a main character. I just really liked her the day I wrote her on the page. I thought, oh, this is a fantastic character. I'm going to have to dig in more. I thought I would give her one book, but it looks like so far she's going to have four books, maybe more.
Oh,
Uh,
wow.
Next book in her series comes out in January, and I'm working on book three right now.
Oh my gosh. I was not expecting that actually. I was maybe expecting like one other book, maybe, but yeah, she's got quite a story to tell, I guess.
I really enjoy series. It gives you a chance to really dig in to the characters, and fans love it. They love to see how the characters change over the span of several books.
And the fact that she has her own series too, is that just decided by the amount of books that a character has?
Um, I have when my publisher comes to me and said, "Okay, are you ready to write something different? Is there somebody you want to write about?" It has to be a character that I know is going to last more than one book. So I don't pitch it to my publisher until I know, yes, this is definitely somebody I want to spend a lot of time with. Previously, my Mercy Kilpatrick series, I wrote six books about her and her life. And then I actually wrote two more about her in the Columbia River series, just because I like these people. I like returning to them. And my readers like it when I return to them.
I could see that. Is the barometer for stopping writing, whenever that may be, just when you no longer find enjoyment from it, or when you just don't, it's not bringing the same zest, I guess,
Yeah.
to your life?
Yeah. I'm working on my 25th book. And that's a lot of original plots to come up with. Plus, I've written 11 novellas, which are about 100 pages each, but they are a full mystery plot. Um, each book gets harder because it has to be fresh, but it also has to deliver what my readers have expected from me that they've learned since my first book came out in 2012. They know when they pick up a book from me, they know what it's going to be. They know what the experience is going to be like. So once I feel like I can't deliver that anymore, I will probably step back.
Yeah. But for now, you got AI to help you keep all the characters.
Keep track. Yeah, yeah.
That's a lot. It really, that is. All right. Kendra, we're going to take a quick break, and then I have just a couple more questions, and then we will wrap up this episode of KOIN Conversations. Stick with us. Welcome back to our KOIN conversation with author Kendra Elliot. Kendra, we've been having a great conversation today. Certainly, you're very successful with 25 books that you've written. Your last in June. The next one you say comes out in January. For people who are watching this KOIN conversation, they like your work. Maybe they want to become an author themselves. Any advice that you could offer them about that path forward?
Write what you love and just keep writing, keep learning, take online classes, do all the research you can on the craft. That is where you're going to find that you progress as you go. Don't expect the first book you write to be fantastic because most of the times it is not. If you want to be an author, you just have to keep doing it, keep doing it, keep doing it.
Keep doing it. I like it. It's a level of persistence, it seems like, that it
It
takes.
is. It really is.
My final question for you, Kendra, before we let you go, is what's the biggest thing that you've learned about yourself in writing 25 books, almost 26?
Surprisingly, I've always thought of myself as a very organized, disciplined person. When I started writing, I thought, okay, I need to create an outline and follow the outline for my books. Um, yeah, I could not do that. That I was really stunned that where I might be a little Obsessive about other things that I cannot do that when it comes to books. So when I sit down to write a book, the only thing I know is who my main characters are, and I can picture the opening scene. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know who the villain is. Often I don't know who the villain is till three-quarters of the way through. But this really shocked me. I never dreamed that this is the kind of writing that I would do.
Yeah. Okay, I have one other question because now that you've written so many books, do you have a favorite type of environment that you write in?
I write a lot in coffee shops.
Okay.
It's sort of like white noise for me. When I write at home, it's too easy to get up and unload the dishwasher or do the laundry or that sort of thing where I'm going back and forth from my desk. If I'm at a coffee shop, I have to sit there until I get the words done for the day.
Okay. A coffee shop is like a true Oregonian, I think. Uh-oh, you got attacked by a fly. Kendra, for folks watching, what's the best way for them to follow your work and get updates?
My website, kendraelliot.com. I'm also primarily on Facebook under Kendra Elliot.
Okay, we're going to be looking out for you. Clearly, my words are getting slurred now, too. The fly was distracting me. Kendra Elliot, thank you so much for being here on KOIN Conversations. Good luck with everything.
Thank you so much.
Okay, take care.